Um, if you've seen my coincidence videos, there are three of them, and I'd like to sort of just wrap up where I'm going with this. And what I think of these events, these incidences, is that if any one of them had occurred in a dream, if I had dreamt about being on a train and was sort of focused on a woman's head of hair, and on cue in walked a young man who told me that he was exhausted and a hairstylist and he'd been drying hair all day. If I had recalled that dream later on, it would have been perfectly natural for me to assume that the young man, the hairstylist, was a mirroring or a reflection of my state of mind or my thoughts in the dream. It would have been clear to me what both symbols meant, and in that I was exhausted or drained, focusing so intensely on this woman's hair, and this young man came into the train looking just absolutely dead on his feet and related a story of being exhausted because he'd been blow drying hair all day. If I had dreamt of coming upon a discarded pair of black socks after agonizing that morning over black socks or white socks t-shirt, and if I had dreamt about that, and then later in the dream I'd seen a headline with the words black and white, and if I had gone to talk to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, they would have said to me, well, of course, that's what it means. It's a mirroring. The theme of black and white in the morning is being reflected in the black socks, and again in the headlines that you saw in your dream. They would have probably thought that it's a kind of, well, it is a kind of literary device. It's what writers do when they want to impress information into your subconscious. They repeat themes over, and I would have thought, of course, you are right. It is a mirroring, and it is repeating the same theme over and again. And if I had dreamt about scooping up some coins in a subway after I'd been thinking intensely about money in this dream, and then later, if a young man had come onto the train and wearing a t-shirt with dollar signs and the words with my mind on my money, and my money on my mind, it would have been clear to me what the symbols meant, what the dream symbols meant. I wouldn't have thought anything odd. No one would think anything odd if I told them that dream. I had that dream. They would have said, sure, because you were thinking of money, and the boy came in and you found the coins, and they would have thought, oh, of course, that's, your subconscious working. The thing is that all of these things happened while I was awake. And I think it's safe to say we know that dreams are some kind of communication from either the subconscious or some other level of our being, of our psyche. And dreams sort of help us to sort through difficult information, whether it's, we're having struggles in life, or, we need an answer to a question, or things that we're wrestling with. And they help give us insight into things. And I would say most people find value in their dreams and in interpreting their dreams. And if even if they don't find deep meaning, they find pleasure in, or amusement in the puns and the word plays and in the odd twists and the animals that represent people. It's usually quite amusing. But again, I say, all these things happened to me while I was fully awake, aware, and interacting with other human beings. And so my conclusion is that I believe that this world that we live in, where we see objects and things and we interact, and there's this push and pull and movement, this world, it's conscious somehow. And whether it's a projection from our subconscious, where our environment, the things that surround us, is just a projection, or whether it's a feedback mechanism that sort of like a photographic film, you know, where the chemicals on the film interact with light and project back the image that's placed onto it. But it responds to something inside of us, I don't know if it's our subconscious, some level of our being it responds to. And there are times when the feedback, the response is immediate. In my case, it was 5 to 7 minutes after I'd started thinking about this woman's hair that this young man walked into the train. The hairstylist walked into the train. And so in that case, it was immediate. And therefore, I drew a connection between what I was thinking and what happened to me. If I had met an exhausted hairstylist on the train 2 weeks later, I wouldn't have remembered any connection. I wouldn't have seen any connection between it. It would have just been just a random thing to me. I think next time you guys are out in the world and you're in a mall, or you're in a train station, or some place where there's lots of energy and activity and people moving in and out, why not just slow down and just be quiet for a second and just look carefully around you and see what you see? Because who knows, you might see this magical world unfolding before your eyes. And maybe everything around you is a dream symbol. Maybe you're supposed to find meaning in it. And that's it.